There is a moment, quiet, subtle, almost invisible, when a man's body reveals what his heart is trying hard not to say. Most women miss that moment because they are waiting for obvious signs, a bold compliment, a clear confession, a direct move. But real attraction rarely begins that way. Real attraction is softer, deeper, and far more instinctive. It starts in silence. It shows up in the smallest details, the way he suddenly straightens himself when you walk in, the way his fingers move to his hair without thinking, the way he adjusts his collar, touches his face, or places his hand near his chest while speaking to you. These aren't random habits. These are quiet signals of inner tension, excitement, and awareness, tiny psychological clues that your presence is affecting him more than he wants you to know. Because when a man is secretly drawn to a woman, something shifts inside him. His attention sharpens, his body becomes alert. He becomes unusually aware of himself, how he looks, how he sounds, how he carries himself in your presence. And the fascinating part is, many men don't even realize they're revealing it. Their body speaks first. Their emotions leak through gesture. Their hidden interest slips out in movement long before it ever becomes words. Ladies, this is where attraction becomes powerful, not in what is said, but in what is silently shown. Once you understand this hidden language, you begin to see men differently. You notice what others miss. You read energy, not empty talk. You stop chasing clarity because clarity starts showing itself right in front of your eyes. The truth is, when a man feels something real, he often cannot fully hide it. His body betrays him in beautiful, subtle ways, and there is one touch in particular, a movement so common, so natural, yet so revealing, that psychology says can quietly expose his secret attraction. Once you know what it is, you may suddenly realize someone has been showing interest in you all along. You just didn't know how to read the signs. One of the first and most revealing signs that a man may be secretly drawn to you is surprisingly simple. He touches his hair when you're around. At first glance, it looks harmless, casual, almost meaningless. A quick hand through his hair, a light adjustment at the front, smoothing it down for no clear reason. But psychology tells us that small actions like these often come from a much deeper place. When a man becomes aware of a woman who captures his attention, his body naturally shifts into a state of heightened self-awareness. Suddenly, without thinking, he starts noticing himself, how he looks, how he stands, how he is being seen. That quick touch to his hair is often part of that unconscious effort to present the best version of himself in your presence. It's not always vanity. In many cases, it's nervous attraction mixed with instinctive desire to impress. His body quietly says, "Make sure you look right," even when his mouth says nothing at all. And ladies, the timing matters. Does he do it the moment he notices you? Does he casually fix his hair while holding eye contact? Does he touch it more than once during a conversation? Especially when you smile or laugh. Those details matter because attraction is often hidden in patterns, not isolated moments. A man who feels nothing usually stays physically relaxed and unaware. But a man who feels pulled toward you becomes subtly restless in the most charming way. He adjusts, he fixes, he checks himself. Not because he planned it, but because your presence creates a spark of self-conscious energy inside him. There's also something deeply human about this. Think about it. When we care about someone's opinion, we naturally want to look good in front of them. Men are no different. Even the most confident man can become unexpectedly aware of himself around a woman who genuinely catches his interest. His hand goes to his hair not because it needs fixing, but because attraction makes him instinctively want to look sharper, more put together, more noticeable in your eyes. And here's where it becomes even more powerful. Sometimes he may touch his hair while listening closely to you, especially if he's fully engaged in what you're saying. That combination, focus attention, warm eye contact, and subtle grooming, is often a strong clue that his interest is more than casual. He's not just hearing your words, he's feeling your presence. He's aware of the energy between you. He wants to leave an impression, even if he's trying to act cool on the outside. But remember this, one sign alone never tells the whole story. Context matters. If he touches his hair while leaning in, smiling softly, remembering small details about you, or finding reasons to keep the conversation going, then that little gesture becomes part of a much bigger picture. It becomes a silent confession hidden in body language. So the next time a man runs his fingers through his hair, smooths it back, or quickly adjusts it when you enter the room, don't dismiss it too quickly. It may be a quiet signal from a man whose body is reacting honestly to something his heart hasn't yet found the courage to say. Sometimes attraction doesn't arrive with words. Sometimes it reveals itself in a simple touch. One quick movement, one unconscious gesture, one silent moment that says, "You affect me more than you realize." Another powerful sign that a man may be secretly attracted to you is when he starts touching his neck, collar, or lightly adjusting the area around his throat when you're near. On the surface, it can look like nothing. A casual pull at the collar, fingers brushing the side of his neck, loosening a button, straightening a shirt, or lightly rubbing the back of his neck while speaking. Most women overlook this because it seems so ordinary. But in psychology, ordinary gestures often carry extraordinary meaning when they happen in the right moment. The neck is one of the most sensitive areas of the body, closely linked to physical tension, nervous energy, and emotional vulnerability. When a man feels unexpectedly drawn to a woman, his body can respond with a quiet rush of energy. His heart rate may rise slightly, his breathing may change, and a subtle nervous warmth can move through him. Without even realizing it, he may instinctively reach for his neck or collar area as a way to release that tension and regain composure. It is his body's quiet attempt to calm itself while standing in front of someone who suddenly matters more than he wants to admit. And ladies, timing tells the story. Does he adjust his collar when you walk into the room? Does his hand move to his neck when the conversation becomes more personal, more playful, or more emotionally charged? Does he touch that area while holding eye contact, then quickly look away with a slight smile? These are the moments that matter because attraction often hides in these tiny unconscious reactions. A man who feels completely neutral usually remains physically settled, but a man who feels your presence deeply may become subtly restless, his body searching for a way to manage the quiet excitement building inside him. There is also something symbolic about this gesture. The throat is where voice lives. It is where truth rises before it is spoken. When a man touches that area around you, it can sometimes reflect more than nervousness. It can reflect emotional exposure. He may feel suddenly aware that he wants to say more, reveal more, or connect more deeply, yet he holds himself back. His hand moves there, almost like a silent bridge between what he feels and what he is trying not to say. And if this gesture comes with other signals, leaning closer, lowering his voice, smiling warmly, asking thoughtful questions, or finding reasons to continue the interaction, then what looks small becomes incredibly revealing, because now it is not just a habit, it is part of a larger pattern of attraction. Ladies, the strongest signs are rarely dramatic. They are quiet, elegant, and deeply human. A hand at the collar, fingers brushing the neck, a subtle adjustment that seems meaningless, yet carries hidden emotion underneath. These are the moments where the body whispers what the mouth keeps guarded. So the next time a man straightens his collar, rubs the side of his neck, or lightly touches that area while speaking to you, notice the energy behind it. Notice when it happens. Notice how he looks at you in that moment. Because sometimes what seems like a simple touch is actually a silent signal, a quiet confession from a man trying very hard to stay composed while your presence quietly stirs something powerful inside him. One of the most quietly intense signs that a man may be secretly drawn to you is when he starts touching his lips, rubbing his chin, or lightly brushing his face while talking to you. It looks small, almost forgettable. A quick touch near the mouth, fingers resting thoughtfully along the jawline, a gentle rub across the chin while listening. On the surface, it seems like a casual habit, but beneath that simple movement, psychology suggests something deeper may be happening. When a man is genuinely captivated by a woman, by her presence, her voice, her smile, the way she carries herself, his mind becomes unusually focused. He is no longer just hearing words, he is taking in energy. He is noticing details. He is feeling the pull of connection. And when the mind becomes deeply engaged, the body often responds with unconscious gestures around the face, especially the lips and chin, areas strongly connected to attention, thought, and subtle emotional tension. A touch to the lips can sometimes signal that he is carefully choosing his words, trying to remain calm, or becoming more aware of the chemistry in the moment. A hand on the chin can reflect deep interest. He is studying you, thinking about what you are saying, and feeling mentally pulled in by your presence. Ladies, attention is one of the clearest forms of attraction, and men rarely give intense attention to what does not move them. If his eyes stay on you, if he leans in slightly, if he smiles softly at things others might miss, and if his hand unconsciously keeps returning to his lips, chin, or face while listening, those are often quiet clues that he is more affected than he appears. There is also a deeper layer to this. The mouth is tied to expression, desire, and emotional restraint. When a man lightly touches his lips around you, it can sometimes be a sign that he is holding something back. Words he wants to say, feelings he does not want to reveal too soon, or a growing attraction he is trying to keep under control. His body reaches toward that space almost like a silent pause button, a subconscious effort to contain what he is feeling inside. And when he rubs his jaw or chin, it can reflect that inner conflict between attraction and composure, the desire to stay calm while his thoughts keep returning to you. But as always, context is everything. One face touch alone means little. Yet when it appears alongside warm eye contact, playful teasing, genuine curiosity, remembering little things about you, or finding reasons to keep the conversation going, it becomes part of a beautiful pattern. It becomes evidence of a man whose attention is no longer casual. It is focused, intentional, and emotionally charged. So the next time you notice a man lightly touching his lips, resting his fingers on his chin, or brushing his face while deeply engaged in conversation with you, do not dismiss it as meaningless. Watch the whole picture. Watch his eyes. Watch his energy. Watch how present he becomes around you. Because sometimes in that quiet, thoughtful touch, in that subtle brush of the face, in that brief pause before he speaks, his body may be revealing a truth he has not yet found the courage to say out loud, that your presence is doing far more to him than he ever planned to show. One of the clearest yet most overlooked signs that a man may be secretly attracted to you is when he starts adjusting the little details of his appearance. His watch, his sleeves, his shirt cuffs, the front of his jacket, or even the way his clothes sit on his body the moment he becomes aware of your presence. At first it seems ordinary, a quick straightening of the cuff, a subtle touch to the watch, smoothing the shirt, pulling gently at the sleeve, small, almost invisible gestures that most people never think twice about. But psychology calls this preening behavior, the natural human instinct to present yourself at your best when someone catches your attention. In simple words, when a man is secretly drawn to you, something inside him quietly says, "Look sharp, stand better, make a good impression." And often he responds without even realizing it. His hands instinctively move to fix, adjust, or refine how he appears in front of you. It's not always about vanity. It's often about wanting to feel confident in the eyes of the woman who suddenly matters. Ladies, pay attention to timing. Does he casually straighten his watch when you walk closer? Does he fix his sleeve while holding eye contact? Does he smooth his shirt before approaching you, or subtly adjust his jacket during conversation as if trying to appear more put together? These moments are powerful because attraction often reveals itself through unconscious preparation. His body is quietly getting ready, not for the room, not for anyone else, but for you. And what makes this sign so fascinating is that even confident men do it. A man can appear calm, collected, and completely in control on the outside, yet still unconsciously adjust his appearance when standing near a woman who sparks something in him. Why? Because attraction naturally creates self-awareness. Suddenly, he notices how he's standing. He becomes aware of his posture, his clothes, even the smallest details of how he presents himself. He wants to look composed. He wants to look masculine. He wants to look like someone worth noticing. That subtle watch adjustment or sleeve straightening is often his body's silent way of preparing for your attention, even if he never admits he wants it. There is also a deeper emotional layer beneath this behavior. When we care about how one specific person sees us, we instinctively polish ourselves in their presence. It's human nature. It's not forced. It's not rehearsed. It's a quiet desire to be seen well by someone who has stirred real interest. And if these little adjustments happen alongside other signs, warm smiles, focused attention, playful conversation, lingering eye contact, leaning in slightly, or finding excuses to remain near you, then what looks like a simple clothing fix becomes something far more revealing. It becomes part of a pattern, a silent confession made through body language. So the next time a man adjusts his watch, straightens his cuffs, smooths his shirt, or subtly fixes his jacket while talking to you, don't just notice the movement, notice what triggered it. Notice whether your presence changed his behavior, because sometimes attraction doesn't show up in grand gestures or bold words. Sometimes it quietly lives in the smallest details, in the subtle way a man instinctively prepares himself when the woman in front of him is the one he truly wants to impress. Perhaps one of the deepest and most emotionally revealing signs that a man may be secretly into you is when he touches his chest while speaking to you, lightly placing a hand near his heart, brushing the center of his chest, or unconsciously resting his palm there during a meaningful moment in conversation. On the surface, it can seem like nothing more than a natural gesture, something casual that happens without thought. But body language psychology suggests otherwise. The chest is where people instinctively gesture when speaking from sincerity, emotion, and personal truth. It is the place most closely linked in our minds to feeling, vulnerability, and genuine connection. So when a man touches that area while talking to you, especially during a warm, honest, or emotionally open moment, it can be a quiet sign that what he feels in your presence goes beyond surface level attraction. It may signal that he is not only physically drawn in, but emotionally affected. Ladies, this is where attraction becomes more powerful, because physical interest can capture attention, but emotional pull captures the heart. Notice when it happens. Does his hand move to his chest when he speaks sincerely? Does he touch that area while opening up about something personal, while complimenting you in a meaningful way, or while expressing a thought that feels unusually genuine? Does his voice soften slightly in those moments? Does his eye contact become steadier, warmer, more emotionally present? These details matter because men often reveal emotional truth not through dramatic confession, but through subtle physical honesty. A hand near the chest can be the body's unconscious way of saying, "This matters to me." It can signal that he feels safe enough to reveal a softer side or that your presence is pulling emotion out of him that he normally keeps guarded. And for many men, that kind of openness does not happen easily. Men are often taught to appear strong, controlled, and emotionally steady, so when their body naturally shifts into gestures linked to sincerity and heartfelt expression, it can reveal that something real is happening beneath the surface. He may not have the words yet. He may not even fully understand what he feels. But his body is speaking in quiet honesty. And when this gesture comes with other signs, leaning closer when you speak, listening deeply, remembering small details about you, smiling in a softer, more genuine way, or creating moments of meaningful connection, then that touch to the chest becomes incredibly telling. It is no longer just a gesture. It becomes part of a larger emotional pattern, a sign that he is not just interested in being near you, but that he feels something deeper when he is. So the next time you notice a man lightly touching his chest while speaking to you, pause and observe the moment. Notice the tone in his voice. Notice the warmth in his eyes. Notice whether he seems more open, more sincere, more emotionally present around you than he is with others. Because sometimes the strongest sign of hidden attraction is not nervous energy or playful flirting. It is heartfelt presence. It is quiet sincerity. It is the body instinctively reaching toward the place where emotion lives, silently revealing what words have not yet said. You matter to me more than I expected. So here's the truth most people never realize. Attraction is rarely hidden as well as people think. A man may control his words, play it cool, act confident, and try to keep his feelings carefully guarded, but the body has a language of its own. And that language is honest. It speaks in quiet gestures, subtle touches, and unconscious movements that reveal what is happening beneath the surface. The way he fixes his hair when you appear, the way his hand moves to his neck when the moment feels charged, the thoughtful touch to his lips or chin while listening closely, the quiet adjustment of his watch, sleeves, or shirt as he becomes aware of your presence, and perhaps most telling of all, the gentle touch to his chest when he speaks from a place that feels real. These are not always random habits. Often, they are silent signals of attention, attraction, and emotional pull that words have not yet dared to express. Ladies, once you understand these signs, you begin to see relationships differently. You stop chasing confusion. You stop hanging on empty promises. You start noticing energy, sincerity, and genuine interest where it quietly reveals itself, and that changes everything. Because true attraction is not always loud, but it leaves clues for those who know how to look. So now I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed one of these signs from a man and later realized he secretly liked you? Share your story in the comments because your experience might help another woman see what she's been missing. And if you enjoyed this, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay with us because sometimes the smallest signs reveal the biggest feelings.